From the heart of Bulldog Country, this is Sports Central on Bulldog Sports TV, brought to you by Harrison County Community Hospital. We're your weekly home for in-depth coverage, highlights, and insider insight on everything South Harrison Bulldogs. Whether it's game-winning moments or what's coming up next, Sports Central is your front row seat to it all. It's time to break it down, fire it up, and celebrate Bulldog pride like never before. Let's join your host, CF Rainey and Andrew Sweat.
All right, so we welcome you in again to another Wednesday of Sports Central. CF Rainey joined by Andrew Sweat. Big thanks again to Harrison County Community Hospital and all of our sponsors, but they're our sponsors of our studio programs, and so we appreciate them and their sponsorship and promotion and helping us get started. So Sports Central, so last week, Andrew's a little under the weather, so you just had me. But he was able to join me for the football game Friday night. And so we'll start talking about some things that we got a chance to see since then. And so I know South Harrison, since last week, got the big win in softball over Gallatin, which was really the top two teams, Andrew, in the GRC, went 10 innings, which was just – and it was, you know – warm and the players in South Harrison was able to just outlast, and both Rory Fitzgerald for South Harrison, sophomore pitcher, and then Bryn Bird, the senior pitcher for Gallatin, went all 10 innings, and impressive on the part of both pitchers. And then it was Bailey Barnett ends up with a double. And so just to mention real quick, Bailey Barnett, Andrew, I don't know if you saw, but she verbally committed to University of North Carolina there in Chapel Hill to be a Tar Heel to play softball.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, South Harrison, we don't have a ton of D1 athletes, but when, we do every once in a while, and she's definitely good enough to play D1, and she'll be a UNC Tar Heel, it sounds like.
Yeah, and so she got a double in the bottom of the 10th, and then Ambry Hunter came up and hit a 2-run shot to win that, and then South Harrison went on. Over the weekend, they played in a tournament down in Chillicothe. Really, really good competition. A lot of schools larger than they were. Ended up going 1-2 Saturday, and then came back with a come-from-behind victory Monday over Plattsburgh. And then last night I was over in Milan watching the junior high squad, but the field right next door was a varsity team, so they're still undefeated in conference, and host Maysville tomorrow night, and I'll be out at Memorial Field for that. So they set 10-5 right now on the season, undefeated in conference. And Maysville, let me look over here in the GRC. And Maysville is, I think, the team right behind them. But Maysville ended up losing last night, so 4-1. So Marceline, Gallatin, Maysville, all with one loss, and South Harrison's defeated the other two teams. So they've got a chance to really put themselves ahead in conference by a full game over everybody if they can get Maysville tomorrow night. And
that top half of the GRC sounds very competitive.
Yeah, and like I said, South Harrison's played, I'm trying to think, this might be their last conference game. Let me check their schedule here real quick. The ability to multitask. And so they will have, well, that's volleyball. So, yeah, they've got Maysville. They do have Putnam County and Polo, which are two teams towards the bottom of the conference standings. So once they play Maysville tomorrow, they will have played all the teams in the top half of the conference there. So they'll be setting really well for softball. And then volleyball, let me bring their schedule up. So there really isn't a conference, Andrew, in volleyball because we don't have enough teams playing volleyball. But South Harrison, their volleyball record, and I know they got a win last night in Trenton. Or excuse me, I think their younger teams No, they got a win in Trenton. It's not on the board yet, but they're setting. I think it'd be 2-6, but their schedule really lightens up. They've had a really kind of like softball, a really heavy front-loaded schedule. Has the volleyball team, and it starts to lighten up with some schools that are more like South Harrison that have just started playing softball in the last few years.
Newer programs.
Yeah, and it's tough. I know I was talking to some of the volleyball players today at school, and they're like, look, we go to St. Joe and places, and we play these girls that have been playing club volleyball since they were, 5, 6, 7 years old, and that's just not been the case in Bethany. And so it'll be a benefit for them. The golf team continues to do great. I know they were in action day. I wasn't able to get that final, but they continue to do really well. And in almost every meet, Abby Owens, who's went to state 3 years, and then Ainsley Clint have been placing somewhere in. Abby's been placing top 3 in almost every event, and Ainsley's been in there in the top 5 or 10, and so they continue to do really well. But thing I want to end up talking about here is, and we'll switch over to this view, is South Harrison football. And so you and I got a chance last week to call that game versus Marceline, and it was one of those, Andrew, when they came in. Let me throw that up and pause. And so South Harrison elected to take the kick.
Yep.
They moved the ball and then kind of stalled out. Marceline gets it, and they go pass, and then big pass, and it was missed assignment for South Harrison over the middle, and they score a big touchdown. And Andrew, because you've played on this field that we're seeing here at South Harrison. You lose a game you wish you hadn't lost the week before to Putnam County, and it was some big plays that cost them. Then you come out early and you give up a big play. Just their mindset. Maybe just speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of feel it in the crowd and on the sidelines. I've been in those positions. You lose like you said, a big game the week before, and you start slow the next one. You've been practicing all week. You expect to start off hot in this one, and it just kind of catches you off guard. But as this game went on, South Harrison, you could really start to see the athleticism and really just how more talented they were as a team. Not to mention what they did this past week to improve on kind of the mistakes last week, or a couple weeks ago in Putnam County, because you could tell that was a winnable game against Putnam County. Just really mistakes at the end of the day hurt them. But it was really good to see them get back on their feet and get a blowout win against Marceline.
And so
this
is
really
one.
Like it early.
No, it didn't. Down 7-0. And honestly, I think this is maybe South Harrison. I was trying to get the clips together and this afternoon. I honestly think this might be when we score South Harrison's third time with the ball, because I think right before we got it here, Marceline was driving. I'm pretty sure it was before this first score. Marceline was driving, and then Case Morgan gets an interception to set this drive up, and we'll kind of pick this up here as South Harrison gets ready to get their first score.
Yeah, this is Galloway.
Yeah, and that's kind of that lead play that we hadn't really seen before much of in prior games. And South Harrison came up with some new formations and new plays this game. And so this one, we were getting close right before half.
Yeah.
And a big pass to Kel Taggart, who dots the I there. And so
I remember we were talking, is it possible they're going to kick a field goal here? Because Jack Cornett can obviously make that field goal. But they went ahead and went for it, and it paid off.
Yeah, and it actually became one of those, Andrew, if you remember, because Kel went out just like at the half-yard line, false start penalty on South Harrison.
Yeah.
Put them back just outside the 5, and then this is another run play, I believe, to Galloway with Craig Coffey leading the way out there. And so we get into the third. So that was – talk about maybe just the momentum of South Harrison not playing great necessarily offensively in the first quarter. getting a score to tie it up, and then scoring with, I think it ended up 3 seconds on the clock when they scored that touchdown to go up 14-7.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could feel it early in the game when we weren't playing good. You could feel it beginning of the second half when we were starting to get some momentum, pick things up. The team looked a lot more confident going out there on the field, and they could really hang their head or hold their heads high, like we are the better team. We can go out there, we can give it to them. Really impressed with how they performed this second half because if they didn't get that touchdown there, or maybe they missed the field goal, it's a 7-7 ball game, and Marceline's probably going to have a little bit more momentum there, but really just a crucial play they converted on.
No, huge, because I mentioned South Harrison chose to get the ball in the first half, so they don't get it. Momentum goes to the Tigers from Marceline, and then they get the ball to come out in the second half. And so we talked about it the week before in that loss to Putnam, how much momentum, right? It was that tip ball caught in the back of the end zone, how much momentum plays into a team's ability to win. So they come out third quarter, get a stop. I'll just kind of go ahead and roll through these a little bit. And so this time Cray Coffey does what Cray Coffey does, run between the tackles.
Yeah, Cray Coffey, if I recall, I think he had 3 touchdowns total in the second half. I don't think he had any first half. Galloway had a couple.
that was the first one. I think we're going to see back-to-back. There he is. And that's what he does. He's, 6'1" or 6'2", probably over 200 pounds, and just runs with enough speed, right? He's not that game breaker, runs with enough speed and a whole lot of power. And then they
we
come
saw a
back.
few times where there was like 5 Marceline Tigers having to bring him down.
Yeah, there it is right there. Three in a row. He just put his head down that time right into the linebacker's chest and drove his way into the end zone. And that ended up making it 35. And then they get a late one with Case Morgan in relief. And he comes on there to put it up to 42. So 42 unanswered, Andrew. And that's something to talk about, because Marceline, no slouch, right? They're going to be a team that finishes at least, I would assume, upper half of the GRC, because the GRC does have a few teams that are probably more down 3 games in than preseason I would have guessed. Obviously, injuries and teams can figure some things out. But Marceline will finish top half of the conference, and to get a big win like that, 42 unanswered, is huge.
Yeah, that's a good football team we beat this weekend. And we talked about Cray Coffey. Beating South Harrison really comes down to that. If you can stop Cray Coffey, you have a pretty good chance at beating us. Not that he's our entire team, but he kind of is we center our offense around him. So we're going to have to start getting more creative, like you said, to try to, get around that. But, we stuck to our guns this week, and we got I assume we're going to start talking about Scotland County now. We don't know a lot about them, really. We played them last year. They played us pretty tough, but we're headed to Memphis, Missouri, and see what's up, because they're undefeated this year.
Yeah, so they're 3-0. We're 2-1. I look at their schedule. I don't know any of those teams from the northeast part of the state. I did watch some huddle film last night, just trying to see. They will throw the ball a little bit and do some of those things. Long bus ride. It'll be a long drive for us over there. You get to what used to be a long drive in Putnam County, and you just keep heading east to get over to Memphis, Missouri. And so I think it'll be another big matchup. The boys will be leaving early. But I think last week, again, was not against inferior competition where you're just like, okay, we look good, but Marceline's a team that's going to be struggling to win a game the rest of the season. I mean, that again, they're a team that's going to finish top half of the GRC. And I think just the momentum you get and the confidence maybe you get to kind of propel you forward.
Yeah, and we traveled a mile in week 1. The distance didn't really seem to bother us that much. I haven't looked at the weather. I don't know if it's going to be too hot or anything like that, but this past week was a pretty warm one. So a few different things to consider going on the road and traveling. But we bring a good team, good coaching staff. Jet Cornett, he is the solidified starting quarterback. Unfortunately, Bryson Quinley most likely out for the year. I think he is going to have surgery. So luckily, he'll get to come back next year as he'll be a senior. But yeah, Jet Cornett, like I said, solidified as that starting quarterback, and really just building that offense with him as the guy.
Yeah, and so Andrew will be with me live Friday night from Memphis, Missouri, Scotland County. It'll be my first trip to Memphis,
Not
Missouri.
Tennessee.
And yeah, that's right. Thankfully, I mean, it's going to be a long enough drive, let alone down
Yeah.
to through the Boot Hill. But we'll be live on Bulldog Sports TV with that. I will be live from Memorial Field there in the Bethany Park Department as South Harrison hosts Maysville tomorrow night. Also, Friday morning, we'll get our coaching interview with Coach Chris Schoening out on our Sports Central interviews, and then plan to sit down this evening with Coach Aaron Fitzpatrick, South Harrison varsity softball coach, get an interview that we'll try to get out tomorrow. Again, big thanks to Harrison County Community Hospital. I so appreciate Andrew always helping me in these things, and he's been a big help in not only with football, but in talking about sports each week. We appreciate all of our sponsors, everyone watching, and we will see you next time we are on the air tomorrow.